In our first story, the Ghana Police Service has committed to beefing up protection for its officers. This comes after a police officer was shot dead in broad daylight Monday afternoon at Timber Market. Major robbery attacks have been recorded in the last week in Accra. Survivors of these attacks have been left with several bullet wounds. The phenomenon has generated insecurity among the populace in general. The police has been speaking to this development on its plans to nip the menace in the bud. We'll hear from the Ghana Police Service shortly. But first, we bring you a recap of yesterday's incident at the Timber Market.
We're told that this Bullion van here was actually transferring some cash to an unknown destination. Just some minutes when it got to this spot, it was crossed by a taxi driver, we are told. So that lowered the speed a bit for the Bullion van. So at the time that it stopped, we were told that 6 men on different motorbikes accosted the driver of the vehicle, and we are told that resulted in the shooting of the driver, and then an armed police officer who was escorting the Bullion van was also shot in the head. If you come here, there's blood splattered on the floor right now as I'm speaking to you. The Bullion van also, you can still see the bullet holes on the vehicle. We're told that the robbers fired indiscriminately in this heavily populated community. We're told the entire operation lasted for about 3 minutes, to the extent that some of the community members actually tried blocking some of the exits here, just some meters away from where I'm standing. I'm told that the robbers realized that, so they used a different exit point to get out of this community. Many of the people I've been speaking to are shocked about the brazen manner which the incident happened.
What happened is that we were sitting down there, I think we were right there buying ice cream. So the moment we hear gunshot, then one ran away, so left with 2. So we're watching what's going to happen. So what I realized is that I think they shoot the policeman, and then they shoot the driver twice, and then we saw one woman at the back, they bring her at the front and they start beating him. So, and then one at the back tried to open the gate at the back, and then they took the money. So they were shooting the guns around, so nobody can even get close to them.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the one enter the kiosk and then kill that woman over there. Because the one shooting around, we cannot get close to them. So we try our best that maybe after finishing, they will pass through this place. So we blocked that side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we blocked there. So they didn't pass there, they passed the other side. We took moto and followed them, but we couldn't get them.
Were they masked?
No.
They were not?
No.
But they were wearing helmets?
They didn't wear helmets. Those holding the guns, they are not wearing anything. They're just holding the guns directly. Yeah.
Did you hear the language they were speaking?
Oh, I didn't hear anything because we are almost 50 meters to them. But only we are hearing gunshot and things. And then where we are, the gun cannot even enter because we are dodging and watching them.
A woman who sells in a convenience store here was hit by the bullets that was fired by the robbers. We are told that she operates the convenience store that is here. One of the bullets that was fired actually penetrated this barrel that is here. So you can see the bullet hole on this barrel, very visible. The first one here penetrated the top, and then the second one penetrated the down. And after penetrating, while she was hiding in this room, we are told that the bullet penetrated this point. She was standing, and then they hit her in the neck, and that was what killed her, according to eyewitnesses. Quite a number of people are gathered in a home commiserating with the family. It's all tears for them. I have a woman here who is quite concerned about the issue.
The lady who is gone now is my sister-in-law, and it's very sad because he left with 3 children. And our presidents and the ministries of defense should take it serious, that it shouldn't happen again. That the mother should leave children around over this time. It's very painful. That is all what I can say. Now look at my brother. See how he's suffering. Not talking of me going to take care of the children. It's very bad and very painful. I'm sad and disappointed. Yes, that was last, before 3 months. We heard that they broke some jail, and I'm sure some of them have run into this place, and they are including of what happened. So the government should work hard and look for them and deal with them.
Just some minutes ago, also, we had the mayor of Accra coming here to commiserate with the family.
But I think that as a nation, we should be mindful and probably step up the retrieval of people, retrieval of a lot of ammunitions. So I think that it's important we take note of that. That there are too many, maybe, unlicensed ammunitions probably in the hands of people. And as a nation, we should step up the retrieval of such ammunitions. I mean, just look at the community. It's a lot of people are here. A lot of people are here. So just take note of that.
Let's speak to the husband of the deceased.
I was called on the phone by a young lady to be told that my wife is lying in a pool of blood. But then I was far from home, so I have to rush over here. And I came to, it's true, when I came it was true that the body has been taken to the police morgue.
We've not even seen the body yet. When was the last time you spoke to her?
We spoke yesterday several times. We spoke in the night, discussing about the children.
Now, that was not the only incident this year. There's been several. At least 3 cases were recorded last week alone. Here's a recap of cases recorded so far. Now, on the 2nd of January, robbers shot a 25-year-old driver in the leg at the entrance of Bulugu Senior High School. On the 5th of January, an Okada rider robbed another rider of his motorcycle at gunpoint at Tesano in Accra. Now, gunmen attacked a water company at Alon Afiadeimba Junction in the Volta region and made away with an undisclosed amount of money and other valuables. This is on the 14th of January. Armed robbers shot dead a young policeman escorting a Bullion van, bolted with monies in the Bullion van. 18th of January, very similar actually to what happened yesterday. On the 20th, just 2 days later, a police officer was shot dead in a daylight robbery attack at Nyankomase near Obwase. On the 27th, armed men besieged a church at Oyibi. They shot at the head pastor and stabbed a worshipper. Also in January, armed men killed a policeman and injured another on the Pramkese-Techiman Road. Armed robbers raided a Forex bureau close to the police station headquarters in Osu just last week, and then they killed a policeman in a Bullion van at Kolebu around the Bochum Boxing Arena and left the driver seriously injured. This was yesterday. Let's now hear from the Director of Public Affairs at the Ghana Police Service, Sheila Kese Abaye Bachman, detailing how the service is addressing the threats on lives and properties by criminal elements in society.
The IGP has directed the Director General CID to take over investigation into the armed robbery incident that happened at Jamestown the attack on a Bullion van which led to the death of a police officer. Preliminary investigation shows that around 11 a.m. of Monday, while the Montran Bullion van was on its daily errand, it was attacked by a number of armed men on a number of motorbikes. They aimed directly at the police officer and shot at him, killing him instantly. And then they started shooting sporadically to scare away people. So while two of them were shooting, the others went to the Bullion van to break the padlock and to carry away an unspecified amount of money. By the time we finish investigating, we'll probably know how much was stolen. And they also took along with them the AK-47 rifle of the police officer. In the course of the robbery, they also murdered a hawker who was selling nearby, because the two lady or female attendants on the van, one of them got down and ran towards that direction, and so the shot went that direction, and unfortunately they killed the civilian hawker. We are appealing to the public. We know that there were eyewitnesses. We are appealing to the public to support our investigation, give us information so that we can arrest the perpetrators as soon as possible for them to face the consequence of the law. We have put out phone numbers. One of the phone numbers, 026-2122-086. We also have 0244994564, 0244280001. Call the police. These numbers will go directly to the investigative team. You also know the police emergency numbers, 191 or 18555, for us to arrest these perpetrators as early as possible for them to face prosecution. So IGP Mr. Pombueno has also been meeting with key stakeholders who we give direct service to, and one of such stakeholders has been the Association of Bankers, and in collaboration with the Bank of Ghana. And so sometime earlier this year, it was agreed between them that by the end of this month, they would provide fortified armored Bullion vans for police escorts. And so the IGP is also holding them to that agreement or that promise they made, so that our officers will also work in safe and.
Now, still on this matter, the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament is consulting with United States Marshals to boost the intelligence capacity of our security services in the face of recent crimes in the country. This comes after the 3 violent daylight robberies were recorded in the space of 1 week. The most recent of these robberies saw the death of a policeman and a 40-year-old trader at the Accra Timber Market Monday. Now, Vice Chairperson of that committee, Ophelia Mensah-Hayford, speaking on Prime Morning, said these incidents have caught their attention.
My committee will take it up. In fact, we've taken keen notice of this, all the happenings around, and as I rightly told you, we've met earlier on and discussed a lot. We've met with some marshals as to how to get the state apparatus trained in intelligence gathering and then fighting crime as well.
Was this after the first robbery?
Yes, the first two. I think that was last week, Tuesday. We met exactly a week today. We met and we had a lot of deliberations. So we are coming up with some recommendations, and then soon it will be out there as to the protocols that will be set in place for these. I'm told the IGP met with these operators, bank operators, and then came out with a directive that they should get their Bullion van, bulletproof Bullion vans to operate with. We don't know what happened. We didn't hear anything, and then this unfortunate incident happened again. Assuming they had adhered to whatever was put up or agreed on, and then purchased such vans, would have saved a life. Because I'm told a normal glass is just 2 millimeters, but a bulletproof glass is 90 millimeter. So you can imagine it would take a force not just a bullet to get someone killed, but because it's a normal pickup as the one that my husband was using before he was killed. Just a stray bullet, and then we lost a life. A state apparatus for that matter. So the committee will meet and then will come up with these recommendations and then protocols as to the way this cash taking institutions will operate.
Now, the former police officer also bemoans the fact that police officers are not properly resourced with enough bulletproof vests and helmets when they go on such missions.
I've been in missions, and then let me just compare. When we are going out for operations, I think one of the recommendations that will come up with my committee with that they should be in helmets, bulletproof helmets with bulletproof jackets. Assuming he was in the bulletproof helmet or in a bulletproof jacket, would have even he would have not lost him totally, but even if he's injured, would have even gotten a clue of what exactly happened. But here is the case: just one bullet, because he was just there, hit him, and then he was gone. But when we go on missions, we have all those things.
The missions outside the country.
Outside the country. So I think we will recommend that the police administration get those going on SPAC duties and those patrols with the bulletproof jackets and then the helmets. I know a part of the police, like the SWAT, they have, but not everybody has that bulletproof jacket. But we will recommend that we get every police officer a bulletproof jacket and a helmet. If that is the case, then wouldn't be seeing what we are seeing, the rampant killing of police officers as in line of their duty.
That's Ophelia Mensah Hayford, former police officer who is now a member of Parliament. You're live on JoyNews desk with me, Daniel Daze. We'll take a few messages. When we come back, we speak to the president of the Private Enterprise Federation, Nana Osei-Bonsu. Stay with us. You're welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Now, some businesses in the country are still yet to recover from the shocks of COVID-19. Data from the Ghana Statistical Service shows for the 60,000 firms in the agribusiness space still remain shut as a result of this pandemic. So what should be done by government to fast-track the recovery of these businesses? Also, how is the private sector working to take advantage of the opportunities that exist for them when it comes to the African Continental Free Trade Area? This morning, our discussion will be in two parts. One will be how private firms hit by COVID-19 are managing, and a program that the Private Enterprise Federation is hosting Wednesday on private firms in Ghana. Nana Osei-Bonsu is Chief Executive of the Private Enterprise Federation. He joins us in studio. Nana, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for hosting me.
Thanks for coming. Now, let's start off with COVID-19 as a subject. The private sector was heavily hit, especially in the face of our efforts being made in digitization, which have not been realized.
Well, the point is the Private Enterprise Federation at that time was the chair of the COVID-19 West Africa private sector platform, so heavily involved in both the recovery and saving our employees, because that was the first point of call. How do we safeguard the interests of our employees, their health, and their families? So that led to the government also shutting down some of the activities, and reflected badly on businesses, because when there's no patronage, there's no income. When there's no income, and then there are a lot of job losses. So this became difficult for businesses, because when you don't plan, and this pandemic did not allow anybody to plan. So it was a spontaneous.
Yeah, that was the dangerous part, really. The fact that it sort of took the whole world by surprise.
By surprise, yes. I remember I was in London, January 2020, when I saw some Chinese with face masks, and I said, "What is this?" And everybody was running away from them. And then, you know, when we came home, all hell broke loose. So
Nana, where are we now?
We're not doing too well. We are not doing too well at all. If you look at the data from 2019, And then when the pandemic hit, where everything went down, even though inflation and others went down, then later on, because of the shutdown, the drastic demand, the surge in the demand, brought inflation up. And, you know, private sector was caught in, we didn't do too well in hosting ourselves and holding ourselves. We didn't produce. So how do we recover? What do we sell and who do we sell to? You know, so those were the issues at the time. Now, come 2021, what are we doing? Private sector always reacts to government policy and government actions. This is true.
Which means government spending, basically.
Government spending, because the government is the biggest spender of goods and services. So once the government does, private sector prime themselves to be able to take advantage of what government is going to do. Now, government agencies don't have decision makers in place. And as such, the activities of those have been quiet.
Because government has not been fully formed yet.
Yes. So the private sector is sitting and waiting. And that reflects in even the borrowings of the private sector. Because we know if I borrow, what am I going to do with it? I'm going to pay, which income am I going to use to do? It reflects in the growth of the credit to private sector at this time, from double digits to single digits. And this is very, very difficult. So when we look within ourselves, we're not doing well. When we compare to our peers within the community of the continental free trade, we're doing worse. We have the highest cost of money, high cost of energy, productive capacities at low levels. So we need the government to come in place with a policy framework and say, okay,
right,
this is where we're going to go. Now, the continental free trade, as you said, we're going to host this activity tomorrow. It allows countries within a 10-year period, some 13, to reduce their tariffs or remove their tariffs. Now, the 10-year, are we rushing to the end zone? Do private sector people know what the schedules are, which areas we're going to reduce or remove the tariffs, at what pace, and which are the 90% that we're going to attack?
Those are some key questions.
These are issues of very, very prime importance for tomorrow. Because what we do today is going to reflect on the jobs creation, wealth creation, and job losses and all. So we need government to come to place and say, okay, you all business association in your consumer businesses, let's sit together and see the common ground. Which areas do we, because government revenues are going to be affected as well. And when government loses revenue from the removal of the tariffs, who do they go to? The private sector to recover the loss of income.
I want to know this, though. What you requires the full gamut of governments, obviously,
yes,
which is affecting you not just in expenditure, but also in terms of decision-making for decisions like this. However, the question that some would have is that we have seen ministers of state appointed. We've seen deputy ministers are being vetted now. Is it that these ministers of state are unable to carry the burden of direct policy implementation, which will translate into government spending?
You see, the structure of government depends on the bureaucrats, the public servants. It's not the political leadership. The political leadership brings an anchor to what the individual decision or agency is going to do. But the nitty-gritty activity, the planning, and the course of budgeting and all falls on these bureaucrats. And without the individual leadership in place, they find wanting. Because who wants to stick their neck and make a decision that is possibly not authorized or may vary down the road? So that definitely has impacted on private sector holding part.
I'm sure this then is one of the issues that must be discussed at the program that PEF is hosting.
Yes, we're going to discuss that, and we're hoping that within the shortest possible time we can get an accommodation with government to have a dialogue to see where we're going. Because, as I said, you know, this is among ourselves, but from comparing ourselves to our peers within the continent with this opportunity, and Ghana rushing to the end zone to open our borders and open our tariffs, what are we going to do to our businesses? Where's the schedule? How do we react to that?
So who is expected to speak at this program, and how can, you know, viewers get involved?
Oh, well, we have the FO Director for Africa is going to speak. We have the Minister of Agriculture going to speak, because basically the continental free trade using agriculture will be the biggest opportunity, because that's where we have, competitive advantage. So that FAO, the Minister of Agri, The Secretariat of the CFTA is going to be there. Then we have the CSLR, which is a technical institution in Ghana that can provide support too. Then we have the Exim Bank and GEPA, Ghana Export Promotions. So those kind of institutions set up to support exports. But unless you produce locally, you cannot export. And unless you know the export market, you wouldn't know what to produce.
So Nana, what is the expected outcome or impact, if you like, of this program?
The expected outcome is to build the capacity and understanding. Basically, one word, information. Providing information to the appropriate authorities and the concerned businesses to know what this program is all about and which are the tools that we can use to catalyst the private sector to take advantage and create jobs and wealth. That is the essence of what we want to do tomorrow.
And I'll say, thank you very much.
I'm very, very grateful.
Joining us this morning, Chief Executive of Private Enterprise Federation. We'll stay with this conversation on COVID-19, but remember that if you want to be a part of the PEF program, do go onto our socials. It will be tomorrow, and it will be a virtual event. We'll have more details on your screen shortly. Now, over 30,000 patients, mostly children, are on the waiting list for financial support to undergo life-saving surgeries. The patients have varied orthopedic and complex spine deformities which threaten their lives. Medical Director at the Focus of Orthopedics Hospital, Dr. Irene Wolf, blames the swelling number to the COVID-19 pandemic, which has greatly impacted donations to the facility. MFA Etiama Eli has more. And so we'll take the time and the place.
Orthopedics Hospital has seen an 87% reduction. The development has affected the country's premier and internationally acclaimed specialist health facility and its care for the vulnerable who have complex health problems. Managers at the facility blame the drop in donations on COVID-19 restrictions put in place to check the spread of the disease.
On our waiting lists, we have over 3,000 people who need help, which they cannot currently afford. Some have been on there for a long time, especially with the COVID last year, where there was a bit of a reduction in the donations that we get to take care of them. And so they are in a bit of trouble because with the deformities that they have, as time goes on and they are not helped out of them, they are not treated, the deformities get worse. And then when the heart and the lungs become involved, then the situation sometimes becomes irreversible. And so then they lose their chance of help. And that leads to unfortunate death.
Focus has largely relied on voluntary contributions from philanthropists, groups, organizations, institutions, and individuals to settle the medical bills of persons with complex spine and bone conditions. 90% of these cases are made up of children. Often, apart from money, donors walk in to present supplies, equipment, among others, for the treatment and upkeep of patients. With land borders and airports closed for the greater part of 2020, a number of such supports have reduced significantly, drawing back on the hospital's otherwise speedy treatment of patients.
Yes, they always come in a lot of tears. Patients crying, parents crying, and they have been waiting for a long time. And everybody is always waiting for their phone to ring to see if they will be the ones who will be called to come for the care. But depending on where you are on the waiting list and how complicated your problem is, some may have to come before others. So it's not an easy situation at all.
The call for support has become louder and more pressing than ever, attracting the attention of two patients who have successfully undergone their treatment following intervention by some organizations. 26-year-old Karen Nyakun said, but for her benefactors, she wouldn't have been able to realize her dream and gained self-confidence.
I'm more comfortable now. I can wear anything I want to wear. In the beginning, I wasn't able to wear any fitting dress. I was not comfortable at all.
Why?
In sitting in public, even dressing nicely, no.
Was it to cover up? Was it for stigma? What exactly? Why couldn't you wear those kind of dresses?
Oh, it was to cover up. Initially, the children I handled, I had to carry some of them and then all that. But after the surgery, now I can do more than that.
32-year-old Dorcas Ampofo is now a mother, thanks to her benefactors too. She says the challenge of securing funds to see herself through the process was daunting.
I was shy to raise funds, to even come out to raise funds. I told my parents that I cannot do this because someone would think that you are a scammer or something. But my mom said, so I decided to come out publicly to raise funds. Yeah.
Both patients are making a passionate appeal to the general public to come to the aid of the over 3,000 patients requiring support.
Anybody watching me, if you have any little support, you can just pass by Focus and come and support.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You shouldn't wait for someone to be on social media seeking funds before you contribute.
If anybody has anything to offer, yes, they can do that willingly.
Managers are assuring the public all COVID-19 protocols have been put in place to ensure safety for all visitors and patients at all times. Amafa Ewenam Atiamwa Eli for Joy News, Accra.
Still on healthcare, according to the World Health Organization (WHO), blood donation has declined by 17% in the African region in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. The decline has caused widespread disruptions to key health services, lives and livelihoods. Ghana has not been spared the brunt of this pandemic. This situation has had a severe impact on the operations of the country's National Blood Service and healthcare facilities. In the following report, Beryl Ernestina Richter tells the story of the impact of this situation and how the National Blood Service is putting in place measures to avert a worsening crisis. You're live on JoyNews Desk with me, Daniel Daze. We'll be back shortly with sports.